What is going on, guys? It is Evan from Coaster Evolution. I hope you're having a wonderful day, just like I am, because we're doing some more park rankings and park reviews. So today, I will be reviewing Kings Island, my home park of my entire life, and I also worked there for 3 years, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty biased. I'm gonna try to remove my bias a little bit, but it's definitely gonna show in some of these rankings. Kings Island is one of my favorite parks, spoiler. I've grown up there, I think Cedar Fair has done great things to help with this park and their operations, and it's just such a well-run park, as we'll get into. And it was a joy working there. It was really fun, met some awesome people. So as always, we have our 10 categories. We've got coasters, ride ops, overall experience, atmosphere, pricing, staff, park ops, theming, food, and cleanliness. All 10 categories that matter the most to me. You can read the descriptions if you like. As always, let's start by looking at the number of quality coasters. And these are going to be based off my Kings Island tier list that I did a little while ago. So make sure to check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. So, for a number of elite coasters, I'm not going to say which ones they are, just because it would be kind of a spoiler. But I'll talk about it a little bit. But I think there are 3 elite coasters at Kings Island. As for great coasters, there are 4 great coasters. For good, there are 5. There are 2 okay. And Son of Beast is bad, but it's not operating anymore. So we've got 0 bad coasters at Kings Island. So that's huge. So as you can see, over half of their coasters are either elite or great or good. There's only 2 that are okay, and they're both of the kiddie coasters. So they have some awesome rides here at Kings Island. Like, definitely, they have the quantity, but they also have the quality. I think they're just missing a super elite ride, which will hurt them just a little bit. But overall, man, it's an awesome lineup. They have a little bit of everything, and the operations are great. Almost every ride is always in operation, unless undergoing a refurbishment or something. So I'm going to rate it a 9.5 out of 10. So not perfect. It doesn't have that ultra elite, super elite coaster. That would bring it to a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. But there are so many good roller coasters here, and there isn't a bad ride. It has such a deep lineup, which really takes it over the top for me, and why I think it has a 9.5 out of 10 lineup. It's just behind Cedar Point. Cedar Point, I would say, even with Top Thrill Dragster currently closed, who knows what's going to happen with that, whether it's going to be refurbished or what. But even with Top Thrill Dragster closed, I would say Cedar Point is about as perfect as you can get. So Cedar Point would be like a 10 out of 10. But Kings Island's not that far behind. If they get a standout coaster, like where Vortex used to be, if they get a ground up incredible RMC Hyper Hybrid, watch out, because Kings Island could be, have a better coaster experience, or close to a better lineup, if not on par with Cedar Point. They're just missing that one super elite standout top 10 ride. But otherwise, they have an awesome lineup. Moving on to ride ops, I'm also biased, but absolute 10 out of 10. The ride operations at Kings Island are unlike I've ever seen at any other park. No joke. Growing up, I was so spoiled. I thought that's what ride operations were like at every park, until I started going and visiting other parks, and I was realizing, hey, why are these lines moving so slow? I'm used to, how this line looks. It should be, 5 or 10 minutes, and it's, a half an hour to an hour. But no, that's because the ride operations at Kings Island are impeccable. They are always running 2 to 3 trains. Even on the slowest of days, they're running 3 trains on just about everything. Racer almost always has both sides open. Backlot Stunt Coaster is always using the special effects. Orion, Diamondback, almost always running 3 trains. Mystic Timber is the same thing. The Beast, that might even be running 4 trains at some points. It's just crazy. Banshee, I've never seen, other than during Haunt, I've never seen Banshee's line more than 20 minutes long, because they crank out trains so quickly at Banshee. It's just insane. Just about every single ride is like that. The only ones that aren't are just ones that have lower capacities, like Flight of Fear and Vertigo. But other than that, it's just crazy what they can do. And the kiddie coasters too, but not counting those, it's just those 2. So it's just incredible. Also, an important thing to note, if you didn't know, the newer rides there require you to get a locker. So Orion does, Mystic Timbers, I believe. So they don't have bins at the station. So Orion, Mystic Timbers, Banshee all require you to get a locker. They're like $1 for an hour or something, so they're pretty cheap. They're out in front of the ride entrances. So you've got Orion, Flight of Fear, Mystic Timbers, and Banshee. Those are the 4 that you're going to need lockers for. So just keep that in mind for your stuff. You can keep like stuff in your pockets or whatever, but you can't keep like loose articles or like a bag or something. You can't bring those with you to the station. The ride-op in front of the gate is going to turn you away, just so you know. A lot of people get frustrated with that. I don't really see the big deal. You know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, if you're coming to a theme park, you know, try not to pack a bag. That's just kind of a general rule. Don't pack a bag. Just, you know, get zipper pockets, you know, wear cargo shorts, whatever, you know, find a way. Or, you know, be willing to, if you have to bring a bag, you have to carry around stuff. Leave it with somebody, leave it with a non-rider in your party, or, you know, just get a locker. They're relatively cheap compared to what they used to be. So it's not actually that bad. Overall experience, going to come back to that. Let's look at atmosphere. The atmosphere at Kings Island is just awesome. You know, there's very few instances where I've had any bad experiences with either people or staff or, you know, just how the park looks. So the atmosphere is just really good. You know, I think they could improve the front entrance because it does look kind of ugly. With the International Restaurant is over top of the entrance, so it's got this big ugly brown building, which they usually put a cool banner up in front of. But I can see how some people think that's really ugly, so I'm gonna knock that a point down for atmosphere. But other than that, you walk in to the front gate and you just see sprawling International Street, and it just looks incredible. Also, the park layout, as I'll show you in the map later during the plan of attack section of the video, the park layout is one of the best in the world, I would say. It's such a huge park, but you can get from one end to the other in the dry park in like 5 minutes, no matter where you are in the park. It's just incredible how it's laid out. Pricing, I'm also going to say this is a 9, just based on the coaster to price ratio. So the coasters are awesome, and the price is reasonable, as most Cedar Fair parks are. It's like $50 for a day ticket, so it's not that bad. Pricing's pretty good. 9 out of 10 for pricing. Staff and Park Pride, again biased, but the staff are probably some of the best I've seen consistently. Of course, you're always going to have bad eggs, so I'm not saying like, oh wow, everyone's perfect, because it's impossible for everyone to be perfect, but it's as perfect as I've seen it at any other park. So like, I would say it's on par with Disney parks when it comes to staff in a lot of cases, which is pretty incredible because a lot of people who are employed are, you know, like high school kids. So it's based on, you know, how people are being raised and how people are being trained. You know, the training seems to be, you know, they have training really down to a science, and they do a really good job training the staff. And, you know, they emphasize all the time to like make sure that the guests have the best day possible, and that you are a major part of, you know, their experience at the park. And you never know what, you know, special occasion or cool thing that person is going through. So, you know, you gotta give them the respect and, you know, dignity and stuff that every single person deserves, even if you're not having the best day as an employee. You know, you got to show the guests, especially because I worked in admissions specifically, so we were like the first people that they interacted with. So it was so important that they had a good experience with us right off the bat, because that sets the tone for the day. Now on to park operations. I think park operations is where, you know, they fall a little bit flat, and they've really been, I think, making some good strides in the last few years to improve upon this. I'm going to give them an 8. So park operations, as in anything that's not ride ops. You know, specifically in like food operations, I know they've been really trying to push to improve the last few years, as most Cedar Fair parks have, and they have definitely gotten a lot better with it. But there's still room for improvement when it comes to the staff with in food service and operations when it comes to food areas, like bathrooms. Like there's an area of the park I'll show on the map later that really could use a bathroom, and also like the vortex area really needs to be filled in, because there's really no reason for anyone to go back in that section of the park anymore. And there's very few people that ride Windseeker, so it's like a dead zone in the park. So I'll knock that a point or two for park operations. Theming, it's going to be about on par with all the other Cedar Fair parks. The theming, they have a couple of really good themed areas, like the newer ones. So like Area 72, they did a really good job with Orion fitting that in with the Flight of Fear theming back there. You know, making it all continuous and make a lot of sense. Area 72 looks great. Rivertown also, that area looks awesome. I think they did a really great job with Rivertown. I think the areas that they could improve the most is Coney Mall, just kind of outdated. You know, it's pretty much still the same theming and atmosphere as when the park opened 50 years ago. So, and same thing with King's Dominion. You know, those like Coney Mall areas, I'll show on the map later again. That could use some work, maybe a retheme. Same as the Action Zone. Action Zone, it's alright, but, you know, they could definitely retheme that to something better. And I think they will in the future. You know, in the near future, too. But we'll stick with 7 out of 10 on theming. Again, above average, better than Six Flags parks. But, you know, nowhere near on tier like Disney, Universal, or even like the Busch Gardens parks. Now, moving on to food. 7.5 out of 10. Pretty much on par with King's Dominion's food. But I'm going to give them the slight edge. Just because there's a lot of local Cincinnati restaurants that I really enjoy and really like, so I'm biased. You got La Rosa's Pizza, Skyline Chili. I'll talk more about Skyline later when we're looking at the map. Grater's Ice Cream. Grater's is really phenomenal ice cream. It's a little pricey, but it's really good. Definitely worth it. They also have, like, the famous blue ice cream. You know, why don't we just hop over to the website and check out the food. Move my camera a little bit. So we're here on the website just checking out the food as we normally do. So, of course, you've got Auntie Anne's. The Beer Garden. They actually have really nice, like, bar and beer areas if you're of age to have a beer or two. We've got Calypso Coolers. Chick-fil-A, of course, a staple. Chick-fil-A has a really long line, too. I've seen that line stretch all the way to the Eiffel Tower before. Chicken Shack, they have really solid chicken there as well. So if you're not willing to wait in line for Chick-fil-A, Chicken Shack is a good alternative. It's kind of like Cane's, if you've had Cane's before. Cinnabon is, of course, good and a staple. Coconut Cove Bar and Cafe. They've got some good options here at the Coconut Cafe. Vegan and gluten-free options. Coney Barbecue. Good barbecue options. You've got, like, popcorn, snacks. The Fest House is a great spot to eat. I'll show it on the map later. But if it's raining or there's a storm or whatever, just go to the Fest House. Get a bite to eat, sit down, watch a show or something. It's a huge indoor dining area. There's a ton of space, so there usually is plenty of space to sit. Panda Express is in there. They also have like a cafeteria style, so they've got like pizza and burgers and stuff that are pretty good. Highly recommend the Fest House. They have all sorts of Coke freestyle and refill stations, which is awesome. More parks need those. Grater's Ice Cream, again, pictures don't do it justice. It's awesome ice cream. They're famous for their black raspberry chip, but I'm just basic and go with I go with cookie dough or cookies and cream or something like that. They got Mexican Grill, Ice Cream Zone. They've got the famous blue ice cream. Make sure to try that. The Icy's Island Smokehouse. So if you're looking for something nicer, like Island Smokehouse is a good place to go. There's also like Meteor Canteen. Miami River Brewhouse is a really nice like sit-down restaurant. They keep changing the name of this thing. It used to be called the Reds Hall of Fame Grill. They have a bunch of different, again, vegan, vegetarian options. So if you want something a little nicer, maybe a little bit healthier, sit-down restaurant, Miami River Brewhouse, highly recommend. They have very good food there. There's been a big push to improve the food quality there and across the park the last couple years. Jukebox Dinner, can't go wrong with it. La Rosa's Pizza, also very solid pizza. Panda Express, of course. Planet Snoopy Grill, you get like chicken tenders and fries. Planet Snoopy Ice Cream, again, that's where you get your blue ice cream. So definitely check that out if you have time. Potato Works, very underrated potatoes. Not potatoes, but French fries. They have awesome French fries. So they have like chili cheese fries, bacon cheese fries. They're incredible. You get a large like bucket. You can split it with like 3 or 4 people. It's really good. I've done that before. Instead of getting a big meal, just split a bucket of fries, which isn't too hard on the stomach usually. And we got Ralph's Ice Cream again. Funnel Cakes, Skyline Chili. All right, I'm going to talk about Skyline now. So if you ever come and you want to just get fully, engulfed into the Cincinnati tradition of Skyline Chili, then you absolutely have to know what to order. Do not go to Skyline Chili and order a bowl of chili. Don't do it. Skyline Chili is not chili meant to eat on its own, just out of a bowl. You know, it's not like traditional chili, like with beans and vegetables in it. It is not like that at all. Skyline Chili is meant to be put on something. So, like, it's a three-way here in this picture. So you've got spaghetti, and then you've got the chili on top, and then you've got Skyline's awesome cheese on top. Just finely grated cheddar cheese. And don't knock it till you try it. It's really good. I would highly recommend trying Skyline's three-way. They also have four ways, which you can add onions or beans to it as well. And if you're not gutsy enough to go with the three-way, you can also go with cheese conies, which are basically just chili cheese dogs. They're hot dogs with chili and cheese on top. Those are really good. There are very few people that I found that dislike the cheese conies, so if you want to go with something a little safer, go with those. Highly recommend trying out Skyline. Cotton candy, Starbucks, Subway, the French Quarter, which I think is like a play on the French Quarter in New Orleans. I think they've got like pastries and stuff there. They also have like fudge and stuff on International Street, I know. Tom and Chi has some really awesome grilled cheese and stuff. So I would highly recommend that as well. That's over right outside of Diamondback. So if you're looking to get a if you're looking to get a pretty quick meal, right outside of Diamondback, there's a little stand. You can get Tom and Chi grilled sandwiches. Really good stuff. And then, of course, the world's greatest funnel cakes. I think that's in Rivertown over by Mystic Timbers and where the crypt used to be. So jumping back over to our rankings, finally, let's look at cleanliness and landscaping. Definitely a very clean park. Even when we had nothing as workers, you know, we would have to scrape gum off the bottoms of tables, which sucks as an employee, but it's really good for the guests because, you know, the park stays super clean. You know, pulling weeds, sweeping. Also, they have a whole department of like sweepers that they do a really great job as well. And the bathrooms are cleaned like hourly, I think, something crazy like that. So the park's kept pretty clean. You know, there's not a whole lot of landscaping, so, you know, we're not on par with like Busch Gardens parks or whatever, so I'm going to knock it a couple points for that. So I'm going to give it like an 8 out of 10 when it comes to cleanliness and landscaping. Also, another note about Kings Island is they have one of the best kids areas in the world, which, fun fact if you didn't know, like the Planet Snoopy area won like the award for like best kids area in an amusement park for like 10 years in a row or something crazy like that. But this was a few years ago. It's since been passed up, I think, by Carowinds and probably Dollywood. I think those two are dominating now. But, you know, Kings Island has a great kids area too. Alright, so it's time to look at my plan of attack and my tips for Kings Island. So, the parking lot is really close to the entrance, which is awesome. The parking lot is over here. So you're going to enter through here, go through security. If you need to buy a ticket, it's over here by the sales areas. We're going to go through the front of the park. One important thing to note, if you are a pass holder, this is new this year actually, if you have anyone in your group that's a gold or platinum pass holder, then you have access to early ride times. So I'm assuming they're going to keep this going in the future, but all you have to do is be with one person in your group that has a gold or platinum pass holder. Even if your friend has a ticket, your friend also can go with you on the early ride time stuff. So look on the website, you know, look up pass holder early ride time Kings Island, and usually they have a couple of rides per month. So they have like Orion and Racer, they were running early ride times, which means you can get in the park at like 9:15 or something, and then early ride time is from like 9:30 to 10 before the park opens at 10 a.m. So check out what those are, because you can marathon a couple of rides before the park even opens to the public, which is huge. So after you do your early ride times, or assuming you're coming in at 10 o'clock or later, you're going to want to go, in my opinion, to the back by Flight of Fear and Orion first. So we're going to come up left of International Street, take a left here, and then make our way over under the Racer to Area 72, and do Orion, and do Flight of Fear. Okay, so you're going to want to do this first, mainly because Flight of Fear usually garners the longest line in the park. It's a GP magnet. I would highly recommend doing Flight of Fear as early as possible if you're looking to get all the credits, that is. Orion is a B&M monster. It cranks through people like nothing. So it usually has a pretty short wait, actually. So I would hop on Orion either first thing or right after Flight of Fear. Orion even has usually a shorter wait than like Diamondback. So you know, get a ride or two on it, and then move on. We can come back to it later to get re-rides. So once you're done with Flight of Fear and Orion, what I would recommend is you go back this direction, and we head back towards the Beast. So we're going to head over here into Rivertown, and going to get a ride on the Beast. At this point, it's still probably like 10 o'clock. If the Beast isn't open, then you're going to keep going. Because sometimes the Beast, ever since the retracking, they've been opening it just a little bit later than 10 o'clock. So you're going to want to come over here and do Mystic Timbers instead. So you've got the Beast over here, and then you're going to do Mystic Timbers and kind of just make your way around and hit all the credits over here. So then you want to do Diamondback. Diamondback usually garners a pretty long line too. It is such a popular ride and everyone still loves it. It runs great. Has a little bit of a rattle, but I always think it's part of the theming. But anyway, so yeah, now you've got Beast done, Mystic Timbers, and Diamondback, which are 3 huge ones that can garner long lines. So it's good that you get these earlier in the day. You also have the kitty credits over here in Planet Snoopy. So if you're interested in getting the kitty credits, then you can go do that. You know, go through Planet Snoopy, there's all the kitty credits, or whatever. But I'm going to erase that because I don't usually go hunting for kitty credits. So, after you're done with Diamondback, then I would recommend going back towards the front of the park, back to the Eiffel Tower, and all the way back to the front, where you were going to want to get in line for Invertigo. Now, Invertigo is an inverted boomerang, so it's better than most other boomerangs. If you haven't ridden an inverted boomerang, highly recommend it. It's actually pretty fun, and I don't get too much headbanging on it. But you're going to want to do. Be aware though, if this line is long, you might be worth just coming back for it later, because obviously it can only run one train, has very poor capacity. Even if the line looks short, trust me, it'll be long. Then you'll want to come back here and do Banshee and Bat. So Banshee almost always has a short line. It's usually a pretty crowded area because it's by the front of the park. Everyone goes over to it. But the line moves super fast. It's an awesome ride. One of my favorite inverts. Probably my favorite B&M invert, actually. A little bit better than Raptor. So, yeah, do Banshee, and then the Bat, which you gotta, like, walk a mile to get to. It's very hidden back here. It's, like, next to the left of the restrooms. You gotta take this path all the way back to the Bat. So you'll do the Bat, and then after the Bat, then we're gonna make our way back up and around here. You can do Delirium, too. That's by far the best flat ride in the park, as well as Drop Tower up here. It's a pretty solid Intamin Drop Tower. And then we go up here to do Adventure Express, which is an Aero Mine Train. Too bad, it's actually a pretty good mine train. Funnily enough, it's the worst ride in the park, in my opinion, other than the kitty credits, but not counting those. But it's still a really solid Aero Mine Train. They've got the guys at the end, you know, doing their fist pumps or whatever. They finally fixed all of them, so they were all working this past year. They might change now, but it's just funny. So then, around the Coke Freestyle machine and going to do the Racer. Ending off with the Racer because it always has good capacity. They're usually racing and running multiple trains. So this is the route for Kings Island. So just to kind of review a little bit, what I would do, I would start in the back, get Flight of Fear and Orion. There's not going to be a lot of people back there to start. And then go back over to the Beast and Mystic Timbers. Again, there probably won't be too long of a line at this point. And then Diamondback. At this point, it'll start getting, you know, a little bit longer waits. And then you'll go back to the front. You'll have to wait a bit up here, but it won't be too bad. And it seems like it might be hard to tackle Kings Island in one day, but their operations are so incredible that there's almost no reason to ever get fast lane here unless you're limited on time, or unless you're on a really busy weekend or like a holiday weekend or during Haunt. It gets insanely busy during Haunt and holiday weekends. So I would avoid those weekends specifically. Definitely come during a weekday if you can. But in most cases, you can do Kings Island in one day. But I have so much knowledge on Kings Island, I could literally talk all day about it. So if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and there's a really good chance I can answer them. Alright, so wrapping things up here, we're getting back to the spreadsheet. My overall experience at Kings Island is a 10 out of 10 park. Can you believe it? It's pretty crazy, pretty incredible. There's just so many things operationally that this park does right. You know, ride operations, you know, they're improving the food. Food is definitely above average. The atmosphere is great. They have a really solid coaster lineup. 3 elite rides in my opinion. No super elite ones, but the lineup is so deep. There's not a bad ride at this park. It's just truly incredible. The ride ops do absolutely incredible. So my overall experience, of course, it can't be perfect every time. You're of course going to have individuals or certain experiences that aren't going to be the best. So I don't expect everyone to have a perfect experience every time they go to the park, because that's not my experience either every time. But I would say, I've been there so many times, 9 times out of 10, I'm having absolutely an amazing day. So that's why I'm rating it a 10 out of 10. Just because the sheer number of times I've been there and had a truly great experience is just incredible. There's really not much else I can say about it. So if I haven't stressed this enough, Kings Island is an awesome park. It's absolutely a park that every coaster enthusiast especially should visit. Some great rides here. You'll have a great experience. In my opinion, it's better than Cedar Point in every way except for in the coaster category. Like, it's operationally way better than Cedar Point, far superior. They don't seem to have the same staffing issues just because they have a very large pool of young employees to work with, it seems like, in the Cincinnati, Dayton, Lexington area. We'll have to see how it ranks with Cedar Point when I rank up Cedar Point stuff, but it very well could surpass Cedar Point just because I think it does everything that Cedar Point is, just a little bit better. With maybe an exception to like Cedar Point being on the beach and having better roller coasters. Other than that, I think Kings Island does everything else a little bit better. So in summary, definitely make a trip out here. Check out Kings Island. You're going to have a great time. It's really awesome. Young kids will have a great time. Anyone of any age will have a good time. There's enough to do at this park. There's a ton of shows. They always have just about everything open too. They do a ton of events. There's a bunch of perks for season pass holders. They do early ride times, which I'm pretty sure only Cedar Point and Kings Island do that. It's definitely worth your time. Hit it up on your coaster road trip. If you're going to Cedar Point, make a stop down by Kings Island too. See which park you like better, honestly. But anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. And there will be more coaster content, more park reviews, more tier lists, of course, coming very soon. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.